Welcome back to Canadian Insights, where we watch Ottawa and the provinces so you don't have to lose sleep over it. Today's headline is spicy enough to set the Rockies on fire. Danielle Smith might just be handing Alberta separatists the pen to write their own breakup letter with Canada. Yeah, you heard that right. While the rest of us are arguing about grocery prices and who forgot to refill the office coffee, Alberta's premier might be opening the door for a full-on independence referendum. Grab your coffee, your popcorn, or whatever gets you through Canadian political drama, because this one's wild. So here's how this whole thing started, and honestly, it reads like a political thriller that nobody asked for. Late Wednesday afternoon, a journalist is doing the most boring thing imaginable, double-checking legislative transcripts. You know, the kind of homework that makes watching paint dry seem thrilling. They're reviewing some verbal sparring between Premier Danielle Smith and NDP leader Naheed Nenshi from Tuesday's session. Standard stuff. Quotes, jabs, the usual legislative theatre. But then, boom. Hidden in the transcript like a Easter egg nobody wanted to find, there's a snippet that changes everything. One little comment that flips the entire narrative upside down. Suddenly, column writing plans are thrown out the window, because this isn't just news. This is the kind of bombshell that makes you spit out your Tim Hortons double-double. Now, before we dive deeper, let's set the stage. Alberta separatists have been trying to get their independence referendum off the ground for a while now, and it's been about as smooth as driving through Calgary rush hour on a snowy day. These folks want Albertans to vote on a pretty straightforward question. Do you agree that Alberta should become a sovereign country and stop being a province of Canada? Pretty bold, right? It's basically asking if Alberta wants to ghost the entire country. But here's where it gets messy. The separatists haven't been able to collect signatures for their petition because they've been stuck in legal limbo. The chief electoral officer of Alberta, let's call him the boss man of elections, looked at their referendum question and basically said, hold up, we need to check if this is even constitutional. So off to the courts it went, and the separatists have been sitting on the sidelines ever since, watching their dreams of independence collect dust. Fast forward to the present, and this is where Naheed Nenshi enters the chat with receipts. According to Nenshi, leaked documents suggest that the Smith government is about to step into this mess and possibly clear the path for the separatists. Translation: the government might be removing the legal roadblock that's been stopping these independence enthusiasts from knocking on doors and collecting signatures. Now, why would the government do that? Great question. Is it principle? Politics? A strategic move to appeal to a certain voter base? Or maybe Smith just wants to watch the chaos unfold while eating popcorn from the Premier's office. Whatever the reason, Nenshi is raising alarm bells, and honestly, can you blame him? This isn't just about paperwork and legal technicalities. This is about whether Alberta gets to flirt with the idea of breaking up with Canada, and that's a conversation with consequences. Let's talk about what this actually means, because it's easy to get lost in the political theatre and forget the real stakes. If the Smith government does clear the way for signature collection, the separatists can finally start their campaign in earnest. They'd need to gather enough support to trigger a referendum, which isn't exactly a walk in the park, but it's a start. And here's the thing about referendums, they have a funny way of taking on a life of their own. Even if the chances of Alberta actually voting to leave Canada are slim, the very act of asking the question changes the conversation. It legitimizes the idea. It puts separation on the table as a real option, not just a fringe fantasy. And in a province that already feels like it's been ignored, misunderstood, and economically squeezed by federal policies, that's a powder keg waiting for a match. Now, Smith's defenders would probably say this is about democratic principles. If people want to ask a question, let them ask it. Let democracy do its thing. And sure, there's a grain of truth to that. But politics is never just about principles. It's about timing, optics, and what message you're sending. By potentially removing the barrier for separatists, Smith is signaling something, whether she admits it or not. She's either saying Alberta's frustrations are valid enough to warrant this conversation, or she's playing a dangerous game of political chess where the endgame isn't entirely clear. Either way, the optics are explosive. This is the kind of move that gets people talking, and not always in a good way. Meanwhile, Nenshi is doing what opposition leaders do best, sounding the alarm and demanding answers. He's framing this as a reckless move that could destabilize the province and distract from real issues like healthcare, education, and affordability. And he's not wrong. Alberta has no shortage of pressing problems that need attention. But here's the political twist. By making this an issue, Nenshi also ensures it stays in the headlines. He's drawing attention to the leaked documents, forcing Smith to respond, and keeping the pressure on. It's a smart play, even if it means giving oxygen to the separatist fire he's trying to put out. The leaked documents are the juicy center of this whole saga, and we still don't have all the details. What exactly do they say? How close is the government to actually making a move? Are we talking days, weeks, or months before this becomes official? These are the questions everyone's asking, and until we get more clarity, it's all speculation and political posturing. But the fact that this conversation is happening at all tells you something important about where Alberta politics is right now. This is a province on edge, a place where grievances run deep and patience with the federal government runs thin. Whether or not Alberta actually wants independence is debatable, but the frustration that fuels that conversation, that's real. So what happens next? Well, if the government does clear the way, expect a signature-gathering campaign that'll be loud, polarizing, and impossible to ignore. Expect debates in every coffee shop, bar, and family dinner table across the province. Expect the rest of Canada to watch with a mix of concern, confusion, and let's be honest, a little bit of schadenfreude. And expect this issue to define Alberta politics for the foreseeable future. Smith has always been a bold leader, someone willing to take risks and push boundaries. But this? This might be her boldest move yet. Whether it's brilliant or reckless, only time will tell. That's all for today's dive into Alberta's latest political earthquake. If you made it this far, you're officially a Canadian politics junkie, and we salute you. Make sure you hit that subscribe button because we're posting multiple times.